Welcome back to 5-Day Crypto. Today we're going to look at Chainlink. We're going to look at Link on the weekly scale, the daily scale. We're going to look at moving averages. We're going to look at Heikin ashi candles, regular candles, Japanese candles. We're going to look at the Gaussian Channel, and we're also going to look at Bollinger Bands. We're going to see what they're all saying, where we think a potential bottom might be, what we need to focus on moving forward, if we go up, if we go down, what we're looking at. So if you like the video today, give us a thumbs up, follow us on Telegram. If you'd like to see more content than what you see here on YouTube. Let's get right to it. Weekly chart on Bitcoin. And if this looks a little bit different, then maybe what you might say, this looks a little strange. What's going on? These are Heikin ashi candles, and they could be useful in identifying kind of trends. A little bit easier, right? So that's Heikin ashi, the regular candles that you're used to. There you go. See all the wicks. Heikin ashi candles have wicks as well. But they tend to tell the momentum of the play. So if you have undershadows, that's what these are called, that indicates downward momentum, right? If you have overshadows, that indicates upward momentum. So they don't have to continue anymore. But the reason I'm showing you is that we need to be looking at, daily, weekly indications of possible reversals. What would that look like? I'm glad you asked. So we want to start looking for overshadows. We had one briefly back in first week of February, but so far not any. Past couple weeks, right? So if you want to see what that might look like, let's go to the daily. There we go. Now we're getting a little bit of a sign, right? So since February 18th, no overshadow, right? We're getting undershadows, more momentum to the downside. However, we've hit a little bit of a speed bump here. As far as for the bears, and we're fighting right now. So on the daily scale, what we want to see is, obviously we'd like to turn green, but we want to see more overshadows like this and a continuation, right? We tried back in here, but we need to see, the daily start off with, and then zoom out to the weekly and get it going. And then we need to close a couple candles above our 21 week, which is unfortunately just crossed the 50 week. You might say, well, why? What does that matter? Well, if you zoom out, it's the first time in Chainlink's history that we've had that happen. Now, you might say, well, that sounds really bad. Well, we haven't had it around, that long. So we can only go back to 2018 because Chainlink's, not as old as Bitcoin or Ethereum, and we don't have a ton of history. But pretty much for Chainlink's entire life, it's been, relatively price bullish. So these kind of moves have come, it's, in a prolonged downtrend, cool off, consolidation phase, if you will. So where could we project our targets if we continue this downwards momentum on the weekly charts, which so far on the weekly scale, no sign of a immediate reversal. So where do we got to look for? Well, see this red line right here? What is that? That's the 200-week EMA. So for Chainlink, that would be, in my opinion, a nice logical level for us to perhaps wick off of. There's no guarantee we go down here. You can see the 100-week tried to hold back in, the May, June, July drop here. So we held it again in December. And unfortunately, when you break, previous pretty strong holds here, it's just going to lead to and even notice the retest here, right? And then we got rejected again. So the next logical, as far as moving averages, is right here, and that current price is around 1150. So there's no guarantee that we go down there. But you can see our double bottom so far. This is holding as support. Now, is it as solid as a rock, or is it as solid as Jello? That's maybe there probably be different opinions on that, but I would say somewhere between here and the 200-week would be, solid entry levels. If you want a DCA, dollar cost average on the way down, that's a great strategy because you don't know when the bottom is in. We'll have to see how this candle closes. It's pretty much an indecision, kind of spinning top right now, but you can see these previous 2 weeks, right? Selling pressure. That's what these wicks on the top mean, selling pressure. Here's buying pressure. We'd love to close, a couple candles like this and reverse this trend, but as you saw in those Heikin ashi candles, and we're crossing moving averages, I would, the odds are still in favor of us not ending the downtrend as of yet. But Bitcoin, if Bitcoin decides to go back up to, mid 40s, and get, at least temporary bullish, then, it'll drag Chainlink and most altcoins back up, as you're kind of seeing today, right? So we'll just take it a step at a time and a day at a time. Okay, so let's look at our next chart that we have here. The Bollinger Bands on the daily chart. Well, there's goods and negatives. Goods and negatives. I don't even know if that's a thing. But you look at how we got outside of this. So 90% of your price action is going to happen inside of the Bollingers. Some people say Bollinger, some people say Bollinger. I think it's Bollinger, but I like Bollinger, so I'm going to stick with it. So when you come outside of it, certainly on a daily or a weekly scale, it's not going to last a whole long time. It doesn't mean it's the bottom after your first initial exit, but when you have kind of a reversal or a spring, what's called, like when you have these candles and you come back in, look at what's happening now, right? This is a good sign. You don't have these, if the mouth was wide open and we're down here, then that's probably indication of more downside. But the Bollinger Bands are kind of tightening up again, right? You don't want to see these open as our prices are down here. But I like the fact that, the past couple days here, we got outside of it and now we're coming back in and then following it up today with another green candle. And so the odds are increased of us going to test the median line here again, which also we're going to have to battle through the 21-day EMA right here, around $16 as of today. But this will probably slowly downtrend over day. Now, notice also back what happened here back in January, right? We came back into it. And what's the next thing we did? We didn't go back down and test the bottom. We went and hit the median line before doing what? We broke through it. And then your odds increase of testing the top, which we did that as well. So same thing can be said for the current situation here. The odds, all you have is the odds in crypto, right? There's no guarantees. But the odds have increased of us going to test the median line. I'm not saying it's going to happen today. You can see how long this one took, right? We just basically trended sideways and kind of ran into it. So what we want to do is, run into it again, maybe $15.50, somewhere between $15 and $16. And then, hopefully close a couple green candles again, and then your odds increase to go test the top. Now, if we test the top again, then we're looking to get back towards that $20 level. And then we got a whole slew of things to look at again. But until that happens, we got some big steps to overcome. So just opening your eyes a bit there. Let's go look at the Gaussian channel as promised. So we have turned red. What does that mean? Is that spooky scary? Well, it could be, but it doesn't mean that you have to, capitulate, or we're definitely going down a lot more now, right? We've been red once before on Chainlink on the 5-day. Let's go look at what happened, right? We were back in 2018, the good old heyday of 20-cent Chainlink. Great. What did we notice? After we turned red, did we, capitulate and go way down? No. The relative bottom was already in when we turned red, right? We were right here. We turned red at 24 cents. Did we go down a little bit more? Yeah. We went to about 20 cents, right? Still okay. Now, what's the glaring difference here? We pretty much stayed in the Gaussian channel for forever, right? This is the first time in Chainlink's history that we are closing multiple candles outside of the bottom of the 5-day Gaussian channel. However, there's a silver lining in that, historically speaking, on any coin, Bitcoin, Chainlink, anything with history, if you go look at buying at the bottom or underneath, especially the 5-day Gaussian channel, not immediately, but 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, 18 years later, you're going to be looking like rock star buy levels. If you would have bought here, would you be happy now? Probably. If you bought back in here, very near the bottom, would you be happy? Yes. You catching the drift here? Buying at the bottom of a Gaussian channel on the 5-day historically works out very well for you in the little bit of a distant future. And distance, a relative term, 6 months, 12 months-ish, right? A year later, I have a feeling that this will look like rockstar buy levels. So in the immediate term, do we know if it's a bottom? Of course not. Do we know if it's going to 10, 11, lower? No, of course not. Nobody knows what's happening next. But, starting to average your buys in, if you have, fresh powder on the sideline, fresh powder, dry powder is just, a term for having cash, right? So if you have some entries that you're trying to get into, try to avoid trying to time the bottom. That's a terrible strategy. and you're more often than not going to miss the bottom every time. But dollar cost averaging on the way down, right? So if you don't want to miss it, and this could potentially be the bottom, right? There's a wick here, right at 1330, right? We hit that level again. We've hit that level again. Averaging your buys in here is always a great idea. Certainly being under the 5-day Gaussian channel. If you have $1,000 to invest, maybe you do just a fifth of it here, right? Just do 20% of the 1,000, do $200. If you go down more, do maybe $300 additional, right? So then you got half your money in, and your average buy is $12, $13. That's going to be very well. I think you're going to be very happy with that, in the years ahead. Okay. So hopefully that helps someone out there somewhere, somehow, someday. Let's go look at the crypto fear and greed index and stop trying to rhyme. We're still in extreme fear. So is this the time to, be selling, panic selling? Probably not in your best interest to be selling. You've missed that ship has sailed, right? You had plenty of time to be selling through any of this, and being, we don't know if it's the bottom, but how much more do you think we're going down? Okay, say, oh, we're going down 50%, 20%. Okay, you've missed it, right? We're down, right? The opportunities to short are somewhere near the top, not when you're 74% down. Okay, so hopefully your coin's 75% down. Could it go lower? Sure. You run a huge risk of trying to short at these levels, or selling at these levels even, because we could trend sideways for another week, several weeks, or months, but the odds of us doing another 75% are remote, right? These are the levels you want to be selling at. You want to try to always be selling on the way up, and try to always be buying on the way down. Usually, the majority of traders get that ass backwards. It's hard to do because it's human emotion, which is why the fear and greed index is only based on human emotion, nothing else. Car of the day, Ferrari FXXK. What the hell is that? Well, besides badass looking, it's kind of the LaFerrari, but the track version. Very rare. You can't just walk into the dealer and buy these. I think there's only a few in the world, in the real life, but you can buy in model cars if you want. There's one. Got it in red. So, yeah, that's that. All right, quote of the day by Neil Tyson, astrophysicist. Like this dude. Love being wrong, because that means in that instant I learned something new that day. Cool. All right, that's Chainlink. 13 minutes you'll never get back from your life. Hopefully you liked the video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. It helps offset all the whack people that give me a thumbs down. I'll see you on the next video. Yeah. Happy day. Happy day.